Hello guys and welcome to the Traitors Australia Season 1. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I have already covered Season 2. I don't even know how to describe that series. A mess is what I would call it. But I have been assured that this series is a lot better and definitely a lot more interesting to watch. So I am very, very excited to get into it. I still do not know everyone's names. It was a little bit of a struggle, especially because the Australian version, especially around the round table, likes to just skip people and just show their votes and then just move on very quickly. Whereas like the other versions are always like, you vote, you vote, you vote. So like the people I've written down are the people I'm going to be talking about. If your fave has not been mentioned, it's because they did not stand out in this first episode, and I'm really, really sorry for that. So yeah, I'm sorry. But if you are enjoying the videos, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Do all of that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. We are on the road to 700, trying to get there before the end of March, which is I think it's a pretty decent goal. We can get there. We smashed 600 very quickly. We can get to 700. Come on, guys. One final push. I say one final. We still got to get myself to 1,000. So one push more and then we will be at 700 and we can just keep building, growing, having a good time, watching reality shows, watching TV shows, watching movies, maybe. I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in. If you guys put a good movie in the description, I might watch it and then do a video on it. I don't know, but this stuff is working. So without much further ado, let's crack on with the video. So before I get into the actual episode, a couple of first impressions from people. I've genuinely only got 4. Everyone was a little bit boring, apart from the 4 people that I'm going to be mentioning. MK walked in and was like, I'm a criminal lawyer, criminal defense lawyer. And I find it really, really funny that he is a criminal defense lawyer. But so far, he seems to be quite bad at the game. And I always feel like if people always come into these games and they're like, I am going to be so good because my job is XYZ, and then they turn out to be absolutely horrendous. You genuinely don't know how you're going to be able to play this game until you're in that situation. The pressure's on, and then you're like, what am I going to do? The next person was Nigel. Nigel was apparently a hostage for like years, which is absolutely insane and crazy. He's trying to keep that a secret from everyone, which I think is very interesting. I think that could work against him. It could not work against him. I don't know. I haven't really worked out whether that's going to help him or not, but I have a feeling that he's gonna do well, and he's actually going to be quite an interesting person to watch this series. Moving on to Chloe. Chloe says she's a clairvoyant. And as we know from other clairvoyants that we've seen on the show, we've had what's her face off of UK2, Tracy, absolute icon, shit at telling the traitors. We had Sarah say that she was a clairvoyant on Australia 2, also equally shit at the game. So my hopes for Chloe are not very high currently. I have a feeling she is going to really mislead some people because I personally don't believe in all that stuff, and therefore I just feel like it's a load of waffle. So yeah, I'll be interested to see whether she actually does correctly predict anything. If she does, I'll take my comments back. But if she continues to go for faithfuls for her remainder of the time in the show, yeah, a bit tough in it. A bit tough indeed. Moving on to Marielle. Marielle's the last person I want to talk about. She basically just said, oh, this is a secret that I haven't told anybody, but in university, I actually dobbed my friends in for cheating on a test, and they don't know it's me. Well, they fucking do now, don't they? They know now, because I'm assuming they're going to be watching you on this show, and they're going to find out you were the person, and now you no longer have friends. I also feel like this is an interesting sort of thing to bring up, because as we'll learn a little bit later, Marielle actually turns out to be a traitor, and is she going to end up dobbing in some of her traitor friends to make herself look innocent? That'd be an interesting strategy. Just let's hope it's not episode 2 or 3 like fucking Sam in the last series. Like, come on. Work as a team for at least a little bit. Come on. Okay, we are going to pick some traitors now. And the traitors that were picked, and I've got their names, and then I've got like the little descriptor that I wrote underneath each of them just to remember who was who. So Angus was picked. I wrote underneath him Bradley Cooper because people said he looked a little bit like Bradley Cooper. Marielle, snitch. Claire, mum/supermarket clerk. And then Nigel, hostage. Very interesting mix of people. I really don't know how this is going to work. I think Marielle's the weak link, personally. I think Nigel's the strongest link. And I have a feeling Claire's going to do a good job. But I am worried. I am worried because there's 4 traitors out of 24 people. This is also the most people we've ever had on a Traitors series, as far as I'm aware. 24 people is a lot. So I'm assuming this show goes on for a little bit. But I don't know. It would be interesting. It would be interesting to see how they get on. So I'm going to have to stick with this series. It was a very, very slow start. I mean, we were about 20 minutes into the episode by the point I'd written like 5 or 6 lines. I was a bit like, oh, God. And then when we move into suspicions really quickly, the only suspicions that I really noted was the fact that Midi thought that there were 4 traitors and one of them was Angus. So immediately, Midi's kind of cracked a little bit of the code. He knows there's 4 traitors, and he also knows that, or he thinks that Angus is one of them, which is so funny because no one else is saying Angus's name. Very interesting. Midi, you are definitely onto something there. Keep scratching away. Come on, you can do this. You can do this. So up in Traitors Tower, the decision was down to the 4 of them as to who they would murder. I always find murdering on the first night really cruel, personally. I think it's tough because then the person who dies in the first episode doesn't really get a lot of screen time. They don't get any time at all, really. And the decision came down to, are we going to strike fear in the streets, or are we going to go for someone random? Are we going to do something that is going to get people, make people shocked, or are we just going to go for someone that's a little bit like, oh, why would they go for that? That's so confusing. What's going on? So the names I came up with were MK, Midi, Sandra, and Millie. It was really confusing with Midi and Millie because with the Australian accent, they both kind of sound the same. Midi, Millie. It's just, yeah, it was a little bit too close. So sometimes I was like, who? But interestingly, for each of them, there were reasons why. Like MK, he's a criminal defense lawyer. He's also quite outspoken. Midi seems to be having a lot of theories currently. Sandra, very closed off, and therefore would be hard to sort of get on their side. And then Millie was already saying that she thinks she knows who it is, but won't say anything to anyone, so it's a little bit suspicious. So on the whole, I thought it was a good crop of people to pick from. Do I think they chose the right one? Well, we'll have to find out when we get down to breakfast, won't we? At breakfast, I found it absolutely hilarious that there were people walking through the door that I was like, I do not remember you being in the cast the previous day. And this is what I mean by there's so many people whose names I was like, who even are you? Where have you come from? Who is she? Where did you find her? What's going on here? So I feel like the thing with this show, and especially the Australian version, I've noticed, I know nobody by the end of the first episode. I know the traitors, and I know a select few faithful, but that's about it. Whereas I feel like with the UK and the US version, by the end of the first episode, I had a vague understanding of who everyone was, because when they went round the table, they said their name, and I was like, oh, okay, that's XYZ, that's ABC, etc, etc, etc. So I was able to attribute it, but I really struggled in this episode. Anyway, moving on. MK walked in and did the whole, I am not a traitor, and I will only say that once. I am here to find the traitors. I should have probably done it in an Australian accent, but it's not as dramatic. But it was really odd and uncomfortable to watch, and yeah, it was just strange, like really, really strange, and yeah, it just gave me bad vibes, and I think it gave other people bad vibes as well, and he could find himself landing in hot water. Meanwhile, Jack was staring people down like stank face, like the. It was actually a little bit uncomfortable to watch, but honestly, I think Jack's got the right idea. You can't be like ka kiki all the time. You got to be like having fun. You got to be no, you can't be having fun all the time. You've got to be on your A game all the time, sussing out everyone's reactions. I find that very interesting that Jack was doing that, and other people found him suspicious for doing that. Turned out Millie had been murdered. Bless Millie. Bit of a shame that we don't get to like see them get the letter and be like, oh fuck, I can't believe they've taken me out of the game. I think that's one of the weaker parts of Australia, is the fact that they don't do that. And I do like seeing that, because then it's like gutted to see them go. Damn. And like you get to see their reactions as well. Whereas I think it's just a bit devoid of emotion. I feel like there's no actual stakes for the audience for people getting murdered, because it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? We're moving on to the mission. I'm going to whiz through the mission really, really quickly. There were diggers. There were searchers. The searchers had to find symbols. The diggers then had to dig up the graves with the symbols on them. They managed to get 12,000 Australian dollars. And Teresa's absolutely hilarious. That's literally all I wrote down. And apparently Kate and Dirk led search teams, but I don't know who Kate or Dirk are. So I was really confused when they mentioned that, because I was like, who? Who are these people? Anyway, it is what it is. But they did a good job. 12,000 Australian dollars in the first mission. Yeah, I was impressed. I was impressed indeed. I do think this mission was interesting. It did seem weird that they wasted a whole day on the mission, because obviously they came to breakfast and then the next thing it's nighttime and they're going to a graveyard. Yeah, it just felt like a waste of a day. Like, what actually happened in that day? Like, what was going on? What was happening? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Okay, it's time for some suspicions, and the suspicions are a little bit juicy. A little bit juicy indeed. So the traitors split themselves up, so they were in different groups, so they could hear different stories, different thoughts, see whose name was being spread about. I thought that was very smart and very strategic, and honestly, they seem to have a good game plan so far. MK was bringing up the fact that he thinks Midi is a traitor because he said at breakfast that that he didn't like Millie or something like that, and Midi didn't really seem upset that Millie had gone. I don't know whether that's like the best sort of way to claim someone's a traitor or the best reason. It just feels like it lacks evidence, and it is a bit of a shit excuse, I guess. But it is what it is. There's not really much you can do. I literally wrote underneath it, targeting Midi on little to no evidence. Like, everyone seemed to be like, oh my god, it's Midi. Oh my god, it's Midi. Oh my god, it's Midi. And then Olivia brings up a bombshell of the fact that Jack had taken her to one side after the mission, or had put his arm around her and gone, I hope we don't have to murder anyone tonight. And Olivia was like, I just didn't say anything. And then she's telling other people this, and then everyone's suddenly like, oh my god, Jack thought you were Claire. Jack thought you were Claire. Oh my god, Claire must be a traitor too, because Jack's a traitor, so therefore Claire's got to be a traitor as well. Oh my god, I'm lost for words, because for one, and I might have missed this, but I feel like I watched the whole episode pretty like especially from like breakfast onwards. I think I wasn't really paying attention up until Traitors Tower, and then like from breakfast onwards I was locked in, because I was like, okay, I actually need to pay attention now, because like stuff's happening. So, like, I don't remember there being a moment where Jack took Olivia to the side after the mission, or just sort of like came up and talked to her. So, was I missing something? I don't know. But essentially, they now think it's Claire, and going into the round table, people were like, well, it's either Midi, Claire, or Jack. One of the three. And if we get Jack, then we got Claire. And we know that they're... And I was like, huh? Oh. So essentially, Claire's game's been fucked up in the first episode because of a rumour that's not even been corroborated. What's going on here? What kind of game are we playing? So, we are going to talk about the round table. Now, the round table was not as exciting and exhilarating as I thought it was going to be. It was pretty much a dog pile. Interestingly, Justine started by saying that she's not convinced that Jack's a traitor, and she wants clarity on whatever this rumour is. And then Sandra was like, well, why do you need clarity? And then obviously Olivia was like, this is what happened, X, Y, Z. And Jack was like, well, this is news to me, because first of all, that didn't happen. Secondly, what's going on here? And Olivia was like, no, it did happen. You took me to one side, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. And then all of a sudden, Jack's in the limelight. What's going on here? Because I feel, my personal opinion is, if this did happen, we would have seen it. Right? Maybe I need to go back and rewatch the episode. Because if I find the clip of him doing that with the subtitles, I will put it there. Okay? I will put it there. But I'm fairly certain that this did not happen, and so Olivia was just making it up. I'm sure. But it's going to be embarrassing if it pops up there. Oh, yeah, that's going to be embarrassing if that happens. But anyway, not Simone, Sandra was then like, yo, maybe Jack mistook Olivia for somebody else. And then Claire's like, what? Who would he have mistaken her for? And Sandra goes, you, Claire, you. And you can just see Claire sort of be like, how has my name been brought into this? And suddenly everyone's like, oh my god, yeah, they do look similar from the back. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I was like, do you really think? And this was a point that Jack actually made. Do you really think he would be that stupid? Do you really think he would be that stupid to put his arm around someone, not even check who he's talking to, and then say something about murdering people? What? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous claim. It was ridiculous. And Sandra was really going for Jack. Like, really, really going for Jack. And then was like, Justine, why are you going against the team? Don't go against the team. Vote with the team. And then Justine was like, oh, okay, I just wanted clarity on this, because I don't believe he is. I don't want to just believe a baseless rumour that one person started. And then Olivia was like, oh my god, there was a witness. And then everyone was like, who's the witness? And then essentially this was when MK brought up Midi, and that was just a whole distraction in itself. But it was just frustrating to watch. I was like, what is going on here? What am I watching? This witch hunt on Jack. Raw is all I could say. Raw. Okay, we're heading on to voting time, and these names mean very little to me. If I haven't spoken about them already, I don't know who these people are. So let's just get into it. MK voted for Midi. Lewis voted for Jack. Sandra voted for Jack. Angus voted for Jack. Olivia voted for Jack. Dirk voted for Jack. Nigel voted for Jack. Craig voted for Jack. Marielle voted for Jack. Chloe voted for Jack. Matt voted for Jack. Justine voted for Jack. She basically went, I'm just voting with the majority. Like, I don't actually believe it's him, but like, gotta go with the group, I guess. Claire then voted for MK because she also believes it isn't Jack, but also she knows it isn't Jack. So like, Jack went for Midi. Ethan went for Jack. I didn't even know there was an Ethan in here. I was like, what? What? Anyway, Midi voted for Jack, Alex voted for Jack, Fiona voted for Jack, Kashindi voted for Jack, Kate voted for Jack, Mark voted for Jack, Paul voted for Jack, Teresa voted for Jack. So there was 23 votes, and only 3 of them. So there was 20 votes for Jack. Oh, poor Jack, bless him. Honestly, poor Jack. He deserved so much better, because I think he actually would have been a useful asset in this game. But I also feel like good job that the Traitors backed this for the most part and got rid of him, because it would have just like I think he would have sussed them out a little bit. Yeah. But I'm really interested to see, like, actually, I'm interested to go back and actually check, did he say that to Olivia? Because I don't remember it. I genuinely don't. I feel like I would have written it down. Anyway, so before we head off, Traitors Tower, Sandra and Chloe were the names brought up. Chloe's the medium, remember, or the clairvoyant, and Sandra's the outspoken person at the round table who basically gunned down Jack. I think they're 2 interesting options. I feel like there was a third name, but I missed the third name. But interesting choices is all I can say. Interesting choices. But that is all we have time for today. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys tomorrow. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. And I will see you guys in the next episode of this, potentially Married at First Sight Australia. That's a new season come out in the UK, and I might be doing like a little bit of content on that. Not like very regularly, but like every now and then. So if you guys do enjoy that content, make sure to let me know in the comment section. I will see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.